Hello everyone, and welcome again to the next lesson, which is lesson 8 of the CSS playlist. And in this lesson we are going to look at the CSS padding. In our previous lesson we looked at the concept of the CSS margins, and now let's look at the concept of the CSS padding. And what is padding? Padding is used to divide the space between the element border and the content within the element. For example, if you come to our browser here, you're going to see that we have this paragraph. First of all, let's look at this paragraph in our HTML code. So in our Visual Studio, we have these two paragraphs, paragraph 1 and paragraph 2 with an ID, paragraph 2. And now we are styling these paragraphs in our CSS file. So we are adding a border to paragraph 1 and also adding a border to paragraph 2, and then we are adding margin bottom to paragraph 2. And now when you come and see this in your browser, it displays in this manner. So when you look at the text in the first paragraph and the second paragraph, the text is too close to this border line. And now to be able to add some space between this border and the text or the content, we need to use the padding. And now we have 5 padding properties in CSS. One is the padding, which adds the padding on all the sides. The padding top adds a space on the top side of the content. The padding right adds the space on the right side. The padding bottom adds a space at the bottom side of the content. And the padding left adds a space on the left of the content. And the next property is the padding. So the padding will add the style on all the sides if you have not specified the side. So with that said, let's get started by adding some padding to this content. So let us turn to our Visual Studio again. And now in this paragraph, I want to add some padding to paragraph 1. So I can come back to my style and look for paragraph 1. And now I'm going to add the padding. And now you can say the padding is maybe 10 pixels. So I'm saying the space on all the sides of the content should be 10 pixels between the space is between the border and the content. Now when I save and you go over to your browser, you're going to see that for the first paragraph some space has been added on all the 4 sides. You can even increase from 10 pixels to 20 pixels depending on your design. So let me save, and now you're going to see that this space has been increased from 10 to 20 pixels. Then you can specify padding only on one side. So instead of applying it on all the sides, you can say padding top only. So padding top will add a space on the top side of the content. And now let's make it 30. Now when you turn to our browser, you're going to see that a space has been added on the top but not on the other 3 sides. Again, you can add the padding to the bottom only. So you can use bottom. And now the space has been added at the bottom but not at the top and the left. Then you can also specify padding. So let's put here left and save. When you view again, you can see the space has been added on the left side. So with this padding property, you can be able to add some space between the border and the content. Most likely in your scenarios, you may need to add only padding on all sides so that you have a space around all the 4 sides. So with that said, I want to pause this content here, and then in our next lesson we look at the next CSS property, which is the height and the width. Otherwise, have a nice time and see you in the next content.